So, as I mentioned last week, for the month of February, I'm going to be talking about the various spiritual attributes of leadership. And the premise is that as we are once again entering into a year election cycle, last week I reminded all of us that every one of us is a leader in our own unique way. And so this month, I'm hoping to help us reframe the language around some of these spiritual principles so that we can add them to our spiritual tool belt, so to speak, as we navigate what could possibly be a fairly complex year. So the first spiritual principle I want to explore with you is an attribute I've actually been wanting to talk about for many years, but I never have, because I understand that I have to be so careful with my words and how easily religious language and spiritual terms can be misunderstood and misused. And so over the years, I have refrained from talking about the concept of humility because I don't ever want anybody to misunderstand what I'm trying to say and go home feeling humbled or less than. And this has been my fear because I do understand that religious language can easily be and often has been weaponized. And over the years, the concept of humility has been used as a way for the powerful to keep their power and a convenient way to keep the people who are the least powerful down under the auspices of religious piety. But my invitation for us to think about today is that I think some of these terms and some of these religious language that people have rejected over the years or abused is because we're coming at them from a very simplistic understanding of some of these theological concepts. And so what I want to do this month is move beyond the kindergarten level of understanding of some of these principles and explore the mystical meaning behind them. Because when we truly understand spiritual expression, the spiritual expression of some of these terms, they're very powerful. And they can be used in very meaningful ways in our own day-to-day lives. And so, as I said, I thought we would start with the concept of humility. Because when I began over the years to truly understand this principle from a spiritual, mystical point of view, I found myself very moved by the concept. When we hear the term humility, we may think of the word humble. We may think of the word humiliate. We may experience it as religious language telling us to be less than in some way. But that's not really what it means. Humility in its spiritual sense simply means being aware of your place in the larger order of things. And now here I am getting in trouble with language again, because what I'm about to say in essence is that humility is knowing your place. And as we talked about last week, some of those terms can come off when we first hear them or think about them as derogatory. Know your place is one of those expressions I've never received in a positive connotation. And just like last week, we talked about reframing who cares and mind your own business. Today, I invite us to take a little bit of time to reframe the concept of what it means to know your place. So many times, this phrase has been used by somebody who has more power in order to keep somebody who has less power in line. And it's very convenient for somebody in power to tell somebody who is underneath them that they just need to be humble and know their place. And throughout the centuries, this has worked very well. This is weaponized spiritual language that keeps the people without power powerless and keeps the people with power in power, while conveniently hiding behind spiritual principles to do it. And that works for some people. But I'm here to say today that that is not the true mystical meaning of humility. That is the definition of oppression, and it's a convenient manipulation tactic. And so as we expand our understanding of humility and what it means to be humble today, I invite us to expand our minds a little bit and begin to look at where we are from a more cosmic perspective. And as we have these images from the Hubble telescope and now the Webb telescope, we are seeing these amazing images of these galaxies and these solar systems and these stars in ways that we could never even imagine. And the world and the universe and the cosmos, we're just now realizing, is bigger than we could ever imagine. And so if we expand our understanding of these spiritual principles with this larger cosmic sense, they begin to mean something a little bit different. So in her book, Change Your Aura, Change Your Life, Barbara Martin writes, "Humility is your ability to see your rightful place in the great cosmic plan."
Will you say that again?
I'm going to say that again. Humility is your ability to see your rightful place in the great cosmic plan. Those are pretty powerful words. And so I invite us to explore this concept of knowing and beginning to understand our place. Because as we've experienced know your place in sort of that negative way, it can also work the other way around. Knowing our rightful place in the cosmic plan might also empower us to step into and claim our seats at the table, so to speak. And understanding the true essence of these principles empowers and invites those of us who up to this point have felt like we didn't have the power or the strength or the courage to step up and be recognized. It gives us the right and the ability to name and claim our place. And so to truly, like I said, know our place, we need to understand that larger picture of who we are in relation to everything else. And so Marianne Williamson's famous phrase, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure." It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. Understanding our rightful place in the cosmic order and beginning to expand our minds to understand that just perhaps each and every one of us is indeed powerful beyond measure. So if we reframe that concept of knowing our place, what if each and every one of us did that and started to name and claim our own power in our own unique way? How might this world change? Some of my favorite lyrics come from Taylor Swift. I know we hear about her a lot, but she has this beautiful tribute song to her grandmother Marjorie. And the first verse of the song says, "Never be so kind you forget to be clever. Never be so clever you forget to be kind." I'm going to say that again. Never be so kind you forget to be clever. Never be so clever you forget to be kind. And then the second verse, the second phrase, stanza, begins with, "Never be so polite you forget your power. Never wield such power you forget to be polite." How many of us were raised to be polite? I'm going to say that one again too. Never be so polite you forget your power. Never wield such power you forget to be polite. To me, these two verses sum up the essence of the concept of humility and what it means to be humble. You don't forget yourself in the midst of your power, but you don't forget other people either. Both matter. And when we go to either extreme, we're out of balance. And then we get ourselves out of that spiritual harmony. And I love these lyrics because she's recognizing both. We need to not forget our power, but we don't forget who we are in relation to that power. And we can be really kind, but it doesn't mean that we can't be clever, we can't still be creative. We have to have both, or else we begin to lose a little part of ourselves. And then we sort of go silent, and then we kind of become invisible. And that is not what is needed right now from any of us. And so true humility is acknowledging that balance, knowing our place, naming and claiming our power, and then within that, remembering to be kind, generous, and compassionate. So there's a story, and I believe that it's true, that at the end of her Eras tour for the United States, Taylor Swift hand wrote a personal thank you to each one of the truck drivers that were part of her tour, and she gave them each a $100,000 bonus. And as the story goes, as she left the last concert, the truckers all lined up in a row, got out of their trucks and watched her drive by. And then about 2 minutes later, her father called, the head of the truckers, and said that Taylor was so touched she was crying. So to me, this is a beautiful example of humility, right? You have this pop star, this amazing person who understands that she can't have a successful tour without the people around her, without the truckers. And the truckers understand the role that they play without needing to be the ones on stage. And everybody knows their part and knows their place and is doing it to the best of their abilities and recognizing and honoring the role and the part that the people around them are playing. That's knowing your place. So knowing your place means you understand that you have a place at the table. It means knowing that you have a unique, beautiful talent and gift. And then it means taking that one step farther and saying, it's my job, it's my role to share that unique beauty with the rest of the world. That is living into our spiritual potential. And so, as Marianne Williams says, our playing small does not serve the world. Now is not the time for us to forget our power or continue to tell ourselves that we don't wield it. We do. We just have to know how to wield it. And it may be time to understand that the power that we have and how we understand power in this world and in this country maybe could and should be wielded in a different way. And so, as we navigate this year of 2024, are we needed? Absolutely. Do we need to stand up and speak out? Absolutely. And as I said last week, can we do it all? No. Are we responsible for doing it all? No. But can we claim our power, understanding our place and our role, and then open up our hearts, minds, and souls to do it with and in partnership of the people around us? To me, that is the mystical, spiritual understanding of humility. And so now I am going to humbly